Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. In this one today, I want to talk to you guys about something that came up in a private video chat on one-on-one. If you guys are interested in doing a one-on-one with me, the link is in the bio. And so this individual brought up a really good question that led to a pretty good talk about denying people access to you, cutting people off out of your life. And I know that I've talked about some of this stuff in my previous videos. I know all you guys don't see all my videos. But while I touched on it, I touched on the importance of it. I discussed how it looks and why sometimes it's important. But I didn't really get into the practical application of how to walk through that journey. And I ended up doing that with this individual who had some concerning people in their life. One person in particular in their family, but that one person had asserted their control over numerous people in their family. And so it was, more than a handful of people that were sort of doing the will of this one central person. And it revolved a lot around, I guess, sort of like childcare. This person is a single parent, has children, and so their family helps out with childcare and things like that. And so because of that, they exert an unhealthy amount of control in this person's life and wants to control how they spend their money, what kind of car they drive, and what options that they have for employment. Basically, it's a limiting overreach that it's limiting this person's autonomy, sovereignty, and individuality and individuation away from the family. And yeah, I mean, it definitely sounded like a classic case of look at all we do for you. You owe us, you're incompetent, and do what we say. And ultimately, what that control is doing is limiting the ability of that individual to be free, to succeed, and to reach their highest potential. So let's get into the journey, the practical application of what it looks like. So I stated previously in one of my videos that when you start to wake up, when you start to have people on your radar that don't have your best interest in mind, that it's not something that you do like you don't just indiscriminately cut people out of your life. You don't just do it in one fell swoop and just kick everybody to the curb. That's not wise, right? So really what you do is you take an inventory and you look at things objectively. You look at past behaviors, you look at patterns of behavior, and you start with the people who are obviously causing you the most hardships, the most damage, and exerting the most control over you. And then you look at how the other people may be connected to that person, or you just look at how other people operate in a similar manner. And ideally what you do is you don't really confront them. You don't really say anything. You don't owe them any explanation. What you do is you take a step back. You take a step back, and when you do that, you're going to realize that there are some people immediately that you're just going to want to cut off. And there are some people that it's through a process of elimination. It's through, a methodical and careful sort of inventory and evaluation that you start to withdraw yourself from these people. Now, in the case of this person and this situation, I can tell you, if you have something similar, the moment that you start to do that, they're going to notice. Whether it's they're giving you a place to stay, or whether they're providing childcare for your children, and you decide that you're going to go find a different place to stay, or you decide that you're going to outsource and look for different childcare, they're immediately going to, show their cards. They're going to say, well, you can't do that. This is what we do for you. We've been doing this for so long, or whatever. They're going to have their excuses. They're going to have the reasons for you why that's wrong to do, because they're not going to want you to pull out. They don't want you to find any autonomy and success on your own, as they want to keep you isolated, as if there's no other options and no other world out there. And when you go and you start to make these different choices, when you start to withdraw, or when you don't pick up the phone and answer, you're going to meet resistance. And you're just going to have to be prepared for that. So one of the questions this person asked me was, well, how come I can't just reevaluate these people and reassign them different roles in my life? Okay. And the answer is you can. And ultimately, that's the first step. You should. But long term, the reasons why that doesn't work is because they feel like you're going backwards in the relationship, and they're not going to let you do that. I mean, some people, if you stop calling, or if you kind of withdraw, silently, you don't say anything, you don't do anything, you just kind of just go silent on some of these people. Some of these people will just remove themselves. You'll notice they won't call, some people will just sift themselves out. They will. But some people will fight tooth and nail to keep that control in your life. And when you try and reevaluate and reassign people different roles in your life, you try to put up boundaries, you're going to have a very difficult time with a lot of these people, because even if in some way up front you can assert that and you're maintaining that, these people are constantly going to be trying to manipulate you, trying to get that position back again in your life. They're going to guilt trip you by showing up at your door, by having these long conversations with you. Well, I just don't know what happened with you. You've changed. I don't know what's going on with you. Well, I don't know what happened to the person that I knew. And you try and keep these people in your life. You're constantly going to be defending yourself, explaining yourself, and being guilt tripped. That's going to slow your progress. That's going to lower your vibration. You're going to lose sleep at night because these people are constantly chipping away and eroding at you to get access back to you again, to bring you back under control. And so while there may be some people that you can keep at an arm's length, there may be, and maybe you do have some good people that maybe you can count on. But these people that you're questioning, these people that are really trying to take control, running over your boundaries, it's going to be all or nothing with these people. And you'll see that once you start to get the mindset that you're going to take the wheel of your life, that you see what they're doing, you're going to be met with a very heavy opposition. And if in some way you succeed in breaking free of that, but you're still maintaining a certain level of access to you, these people are going to be relentless at bringing you down, making you feel guilty, and trying to get their foot back in the door again. These people are adults. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that they're keeping you under their thumb. They know that what they're doing is in their best interest and not yours. They're just hoping that you don't see it because they need you more than you need them. And even though they might be providing a service for you, like a place to stay or childcare or whatever the case may be, everything that they do for you, they're expecting something in return. It's transactional. That's not love. That's not care. And if them doing something for you and expecting something in return is for you to be an indentured servant, to be a slave, and to be under their control, that's not the will of God. That's not where God wants you. And these people really will do everything that they can to break down any strength or growth that you have, and in every way possible tell you that it's wrong, make you doubt yourself. Every step that you try and go forward, they're going to try and make it 2 steps back. So ultimately, what you need to do is you need to make a decisive, confirmed decision that you've discerned the situation and these people, and you're going to start making new moves. You're going to set some money aside. You're going to find a new place to stay. You're going to find new childcare. You're going to find that employment that's going to bring you your own personal freedom and autonomy. And you got to stick to it. You've got to be unwavering in that. And where a lot of people are falling short on this is because they don't have the right faith. They don't love themselves enough. They're afraid to step out of the comfort zone. And even though where they're at, they know it's bad for them. They know it's abusive or toxic or controlling or manipulative. That's all they know. And these people want to make you dependent on them. So can you continue to have them in your life? Well, yeah, I mean, that's a personal choice. But as you start to grow in strength, grow in knowledge, and you start to have your freedom, and you step out of that, and you look back, you're not going to want anything to do with them because you're going to know what they're about. You're going to know the brainwashing, the control, and everything that they've asserted over you. And you're not going to want to have any part of that because you've worked so hard to get there. You've sacrificed so hard to get there. Why would you go back to that? You know? And it's hard because you want these people to be a part of your life. You want to love them. You want to give them a place in your life, but you did, and look what they did with it. Look what they did to you. They're not going anywhere, and they don't want you to go anywhere either. But yet, you should do that. You should launch out into this world. You should have your own individuation. You should have your own life. And these people should love you enough to respect that, to support that. Think about it, right? So you should be going through a process where you're making moves. And like I said, you don't really owe them an explanation. You decide, through prayer and everything that you're learning, everything that you're waking up to, you decide to do what's best for you, where God's leading you, or what he wants you to do. He doesn't want you to be stuck. He doesn't want you to be a slave. He doesn't want you to be mentally, physically, emotionally, financially abused. It's very difficult to receive God's blessings or to have new things be brought into your life, new people to be brought into your life, when you just have a fence of evil people around you isolating you. It's only when you can break free, when you can get out. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it seems impossible. It's not, no one's saying it's just going to be easy. You decide to do that and you're going to have all you need. That's not necessarily the case. But to get alone is where we cling to God instead of our handlers. You spend time alone with God, you get filled with the Spirit, your mind gets renewed, your spirit gets renewed. You start to hear the voice of God better. You start to see clearly better. As long as you're with these people, you're going to be manipulated. You're going to be in the fog. You're going to be in the fog of war, the fog of manipulation, the fog of guilt. It's only when you step outside of your comfort zone that you're trusting God. It's only when you step outside of your comfort zone when you start to grow again and you have that freedom again. So can you reevaluate people and reassign them in your life? Yeah, but you've probably been doing that consciously and unconsciously for years, whether you know it or not, and it's not working. Those people are not respecting that. Those people are not adhering to the position that you're assigning them to. They're not respecting your boundaries. So what do? You, through the process of elimination, you just start to tell people no. Through the process of personal growth, you start to take steps forward, whether they like it or not. Some people, you just have to love them and let them go. Nobody says that you have to go to war or that you have to dislike or hate someone, even for the things that they've done to you. I mean, there's a lot of ways that narcissistic, toxic people abuse other people. There's lots of relationship dynamics out there. But the best thing to do is to just let them go with love and forgive them. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to reconcile the relationship. But the forgiveness is for you. You let them go and you move on. And the things that they've done or whatever they're pursuing, that's between them and God. They have their own life to deal with. They have their own relationship with God to deal with. And what they're doing is evil. Some of these people, for the most part, these people are wicked. So you let them go, you forgive them, pray for peace, pray for the things that you need every day, and let God deal with those people and let them worry about their relationship with God. You need to move to a place where God can speak to you, God can grow you, God can direct you, God can provide for you. And you have time for prayer. And at first it may seem like, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to have time to do all this? Believe me, I've been there. I've thought that. How am I going to have energy to do this? The math doesn't math, but he'll make it math. And the time that you have to do things, it'll end up being more time. And all the things that you question and all the provisions that you needed, if you have faith in some way, you go back down and you come back up. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. But when you come out the other side and you start to see the wheels turning and you start seeing the prayers answered and you start breathing freely, you start walking taller, you start feeling validated in your relationship with the Lord, lack won't feel like lack. Isolation or aloneness won't feel painful or lonely. God has a way of taking things and turning things that are wrong, bad, or upside down and making them loving, fulfilling, and right side up. And when that happens, all glory to him. He gets it all. And that's what he really wants to do in our lives in this time for all of us that are caught in these situations. So yeah, it's a process. Don't be afraid of it. Cling to the truth, seek the face of the Lord, start to pray more. These things will happen. They'll unfold. But so much as you look to man, if you put your faith in a person is going to deceive you and disappoint you, mislead you. And that's just how it is. It shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, a lot of these people, their hearts are hardened. They don't have love, and they look at people like objects. They don't love you, love you for what you have to give, and they don't reciprocate. A lot of people, they look at themselves as the center of the universe, and all they want is control. So that one-on-one, I thought really brought out a good talk. Having had that with a person, I could sort of bring that out, give that to all you guys. I hope it helps. If you guys need anything, I'm here. If you guys would like to donate to the channel, the links are in the bio. That's all I got for this one. You guys be blessed.